Could North Korea already have around 50 nuclear warheads today and be on a trajectory to build hundreds more within a few years, dramatically changing the balance of power in the region? Kim Jong Un, North Korea's powerful leader's sister, drops bombshell. What does Pyongyang mean when it declares its nuclear arsenal absolutely non-negotiable, and how should diplomats and militaries interpret that uncompromising stance? North Korea's growing stockpile and advancing missile capabilities beginning to outpace and potentially overwhelm current U.S. missile defenses in the region. Could Beijing be quietly enabling or leveraging North Korea's expanding nuclear forces, so that China ends up with a covert strategic advantage in disputes over Taiwan and the wider Indo-Pacific? If North Korea reaches 50 or more deployed warheads, might those weapons effectively become an unspoken strategic card in China's hands when pressuring Taiwan or deterring U.S. intervention? Given recent rhetoric, weapons development, and regional tensions, is there a realistic risk that North Korea could launch a sudden strike against U.S. bases or forces in Asia, catching Allied defenses off guard? As global attention focuses on the tense standoff in the Taiwan Strait, a second and far more secretive nuclear flashpoint is quietly growing in the shadows, threatening to redraw strategic calculations across East Asia. Fresh, hardline declarations from Pyongyang now suggest the regime is racing to strengthen and diversify its atomic sword, accelerating weapons development with an urgency that alarms security analysts worldwide. In blunt and unmistakable terms, Kim Jong Un's influential sister stated that North Korea's nuclear arsenal is absolutely non-negotiable, signaling a refusal to compromise that could harden the regime's bargaining posture and raise the risk of miscalculation. At the very moment China is stepping up pressure on Taiwan with military and diplomatic moves, North Korea is simultaneously accelerating a dramatic expansion of its nuclear capabilities, creating a linked crisis that could complicate regional responses. Adding an unexpected geopolitical twist, Xi Jinping is scheduled to visit North Korea for the first time in nearly 7 years, a trip that could reshape alliances and raise questions about Beijing's role in Pyongyang's military trajectory. Kim Jong Un publicly dismissed U.S. assertions that Xi Jinping and Donald Trump reached any agreement on North Korea's denuclearization, calling such reports misleading and insisting Pyongyang will not be bound by outside promises or back-channel assumptions. In blunt, authoritative language, Kim's sister declared the expansion of the country's nuclear forces an irreversible state policy, framing atomic buildup as a permanent pillar of national security rather than a negotiable program. Those remarks make clear that Pyongyang has no intention of negotiating away its nuclear arsenal, signaling a hardline posture that could close diplomatic avenues and increase the risk of long-term strategic confrontation. Earlier this week, North Korea publicly unveiled a new facility for producing nuclear materials, a development that analysts say could significantly boost Pyongyang's capacity to manufacture fissile material for more warheads. Kim Jong Un used the unveiling as a platform to call for an exponential expansion of the country's atomic arsenal, urging faster production, broader deployment, and greater emphasis on strategic deterrence. Analysts argue the new facility strengthens Kim's bargaining position ahead of his high-stakes summit with Xi Jinping, giving Pyongyang tangible leverage and a stronger negotiating posture at the talks. Experts warn the facility could also be used to justify and accelerate a faster pace of nuclear weapons development, providing the material base to scale up warhead production far more quickly than previously projected. Following the unveiling, Kim Jong Un toured a major munitions factory to personally review missile production capabilities, signaling direct oversight and an intensified focus on integrating warhead and delivery systems. During that visit, Kim ordered missile output to increase by a factor of 2.5 over the next 5 years, a directive that, if followed, would dramatically expand North Korea's strike capacity and reshape regional deterrence calculations. According to reporting by Bloomberg, analysts now warn that North Korea may possess enough nuclear warheads and delivery options to saturate and potentially overwhelm U.S. missile defense systems, creating scenarios in which American interceptors and layered defenses could be strained beyond their design capacity. Intelligence estimates suggest Pyongyang currently holds roughly 50 nuclear warheads, and officials say that additional devices and fissile material are actively under development in order to expand and diversify that arsenal over the coming years. Bloomberg reports that if North Korea sustains its current production tempo of fissile material and warhead assembly, Kim's forces could feasibly approach or match the size of Israel's nuclear stockpile by around 2035, with significant implications for regional and global deterrence calculations. South Korean officials have warned that North Korea's industrial capacity and facilities could allow Pyongyang to build as many as 20 new nuclear weapons per year, a rate of expansion that would quickly change strategic balances on the peninsula and beyond. Projections based on current production trends indicate North Korea could, within the next decade, amass a nuclear arsenal that rivals the size of France's stockpile, raising questions about proliferation, deterrence, and the threshold for international responses. Satellite imagery and open-source reporting show Pyongyang is expanding and modernizing multiple facilities associated with the production of weapons-grade fissile material, increasing its ability to manufacture additional warheads at greater scale and pace. Beyond stockpile growth, North Korea is actively testing and refining new delivery technologies, ranging from long-range ballistic missiles to potentially mobile and submarine launch systems, that would make its nuclear weapons harder to detect, track, and defend against. If current expansion continues, analysts warn Kim's nuclear arsenal could soon surpass the inventories held by the United Kingdom, Israel, and Pakistan, altering regional threat perceptions and complicating traditional calculations of strategic parity. Bloomberg reporting warns that North Korea's Hwasong series of intercontinental ballistic missiles may now pose a credible threat to U.S. homeland defense systems, raising fresh concerns about whether current U.S. interceptors and sensors can reliably detect and defeat an incoming salvo. Analysts say specific Hwasong variants, including the 15, 17, 18, and 19, could be designed and tested in ways that allow them to penetrate U.S. ground-based mid-course defenses, challenging the layered missile shield that American planners have relied upon for decades. The United States has invested roughly $65 billion in its ground-based mid-course defense network, a multi-layered system of interceptors, radars, and command nodes intended to protect the homeland from limited ballistic missile attacks. Beyond ICBMs aimed at distant targets, North Korea's dense inventory of short and medium-range missiles remains capable of striking U.S. allies across Asia, threatening bases, cities, and critical infrastructure in South Korea, Japan, and other regional partners. Decades of sanctions, diplomacy, and pressure intended to halt Kim's nuclear program have so far failed to stop its expansion, as Pyongyang continues to develop both fissile material production and delivery systems with growing speed and sophistication. Guam continues to be singled out as a principal target because of its strategic location and the large stockpile of U.S. munitions and military assets stationed there, making it a high-value objective in Pyeongchang's contingency planning. Guam continues to be singled out as a principal target because of its strategic location and the large stockpile of U.S. munitions and military assets stationed there, making it a high-value objective in Pyongyang's contingency planning. Some assessments suggest North Korea may be approaching the threshold where it could wage an actual limited nuclear campaign, possessing enough weapons and delivery systems to threaten sustained nuclear operations against adversaries. Importantly, Pyongyang has never demonstrated a full-scale, mass nuclear missile attack in live tests, leaving key questions about logistics, command and control, and the practical reliability of such an operation unanswered. Ultimately, uncertainty remains. While estimates and tests raise concern, no definitive public evidence proves that Kim's nuclear-capable missiles can reliably reach and strike North American targets under operational conditions. Last year, U.S. defense intelligence publicly assessed that North Korea possessed roughly 10 operational intercontinental ballistic missiles, a baseline estimate that shaped Allied planning and threat assessments at the time. More recent analyses suggest that Pyongyang's program has accelerated, and some intelligence and open-source experts now estimate North Korea could field as many as 24 active ICBMs, substantially increasing its strike options. Other reports go further, claiming North Korea may already have as many as 48 transporter erector launcher vehicles configured and ready, giving the regime the mobility to disperse and rapidly launch multiple ICBMs. In recent years, dozens of ICBM-sized missiles have been displayed in carefully staged military parades, signaling both a public projection of capability and a potential inventory far larger than earlier estimates. However, analysts caution that many parade-displayed missiles could be mock-ups or inert replicas intended for strategic signaling, meaning visual appearances do not necessarily confirm full operational status. By contrast, the U.S. ground-based mid-course defense network currently fields 44 deployed interceptors located in Alaska and California, forming the primary homeland layer against long-range ballistic missile threats. To respond to evolving threats, Washington plans to expand that shield by adding 20 additional interceptor silos in Alaska, a move intended to improve engagement capacity and redundancy against larger salvos. Defensive planners also work with conservative engagement doctrines that often assume the potential requirement of 2 interceptors per incoming warhead, one to increase the kill probability and a second as a hedge against interceptor failure.